Today we're here to talk about the biggest streamer of them all, YouTube. Yeah, I know that's surprising, but even now, on televisions across this country and around the world, YouTube is dominating TV viewing time. Don't believe me? Here we go. So if you're just now seeing this video about how YouTube is the streaming service, just know that this is the third in a multi-part series of videos where I've been talking about streaming services, and the two previous videos are linked down below. Of course, I try to make them fun and informative, but they're also somewhat surprising, and maybe an indication that not only is the streaming war over, maybe a new skirmish has begun. And if you're interested in more of the ways that these streaming services have tried and failed, do check out those two videos. Now, this video, we're going to explore the latest Nielsen data. So we just have some hard data here that reveals that YouTube's continued rise as the most watched streaming platform is unfettered by what type of screen it's on, because big screen TVs across the country and perhaps around the world are being filled up with YouTube, at least in part, and more specifically, definitely in streaming. They're the #1 platform, and they have been for a long period of time. We have a lot of numbers to back that up, and while other major streaming services have experienced some stagnant growth, in other words, very flat, or even declining streaming times, YouTube saw an increase in household viewership, specifically on televisions. So let's dive right in, shall we? According to Nielsen's The Gauge report from April, YouTube's viewing time, excluding YouTube TV, in US households increased by 1.5%, and that's just in the period of 1 month. They measured from March 27th to April 30th, and the growth translated into a 0.3 share point increase, which is somewhat substantial. And that secured YouTube 8.1% of the total time spent watching television. Of course, they're watching it on set-top boxes and other devices like Xbox and PS5 or whatever else you're able to put this on. Oh, of course, smart TVs. So we're going to look at the overall for all of these streaming services just for comparison's sake. Other streaming platforms such as Netflix, Disney, HBO Max, which is just Max now, Prime Video, Peacock, and Hulu. All of those other ones experienced either no growth, completely stagnant, or decreased viewing times for that same month-long period. That's not a good sign, and it indicates, well, the most dominant platform out there. Nielsen highlights these numbers and even adds in the performance of the free ad tech-supported services, the FAST services. They compare Fox's Tubi and also Paramount's Pluto TV, which have had significant gains. They've had, in fact, month-over-month gains for quite some time, and we've done several videos. You can find one of them here, well, actually here, if you'd like to check out more on FAST services, free advertising-supported streaming. Tubi actually saw a 6% increase in its total viewership or viewing time and a 0.1 share. That's pretty decent. They capture an overall 1.1% of the viewing on America's televisions. And while Pluto TV held steady with a moderate increase that's not really easily measurable, with a 3.9% increase in viewing time, which is not insubstantial. Now, despite a decline in overall streaming content consumption across the board, in fact, a 2.1% drop compared to March, YouTube actually maintained its position at the top of the streaming platform in terms of share and time spent viewing. Let's run down those rankings officially, because we have the numbers. YouTube is at 8%, as I mentioned before. Netflix right behind at 6.9%, in a position I think they will never relinquish. And Hulu landed at 3.3%. Wait until Disney has to buy that from Comcast and Comcast pulls their programming, and that thing is going to drop like a rock. Prime Video jumped into 4th place at 2.8%. And again, I suggest that's temporary because once Hulu is purchased by Disney in January of 2024, you will not be able to find much on Hulu, which will drop them down considerably, perhaps even below Disney Plus, which lands at 1.8%. on the list here right now. Max landed at 1.2%, Peacock 1.1%, which is rather impressive considering the number of subscribers they have, which is much, much lower than any of the other streaming services. And then we get into the ad-supported tier, which is Tubi at 1.1% and Pluto TV at 0.8%. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're looking for ad dollars, Peacock, Tubi, and Pluto TV are probably doing pretty well financially. So if you're looking at normal linear viewing, broadcast television, cable, satellite, you actually still realize that it's the dominant platform for most viewers. Broadcast TV networks held a 23.1% share, and when you add in cable, which was 31.5%, well, you're still over 50% of people watching television the same way they always have. Now, these numbers showed up just in time for YouTube's 2023 upfront presentation for ad buyers, and this is the market where YouTube sells their ads to advertisers. This is an opportunity for them to showcase opportunities and highlight their growing share. And let me tell you, on television, it's pretty impressive. They are able to tell these advertisers, because of these numbers, that they're becoming more and more valuable, and that should be where they put their ad tech dollars. Thus, showing these advertisers that, hey, you'll get more reach here. You'll reach into a market that you're not penetrating now. YouTube's VP of the Americas is Tara Walpert-Levy. And while that's difficult to say, I only have to say it 1 or 2 more times in this video. This person emphasized the platform's sustainable growth and its position as the leading TV network and platform according to Nielsen. Isn't that surprising? YouTube. She attributed YouTube's success to the diverse range of content and the passion the viewers have for its creators. And I'm going to stop with the air quotes because a lot of you don't like it. But anyway, all I can say is, hey, look, Ma, I'm a creator. YouTube's secret weapon, of course, in the streaming wars is its roster of influencers or influential creators, both of which I hate. How about just content creators? How about just call me a YouTuber? I mean, Mike, Mexican Iron Man, might be offended by that, but I'm not. I think people should stop using that word influencers, because influencers right now are backfiring on products and stores and all kinds of things. So I think maybe we step away, okay? Anyway, obviously, her references were to the huge channels. Obviously, Mr. Beast and Rhett and Link, and of course, PewDiePie, and many, many more. All of the creators that she points at offer fresh and original content that pulls in a unique audience that, well, to be fair, can't be found elsewhere. Nielsen's previous research found that at least 1/3 of adults in the audience are watching YouTube, and they couldn't be reached through any other ad-supported streaming means. That means people are avoiding ads like the plague. So if you want to get someone digital attention, you pretty much have to go through YouTube. Addressing concerns about brand safety, which obviously is top of mind for a lot of these people after the Bud Light debacle, amongst other things. I mean, Target's getting it right now. Walpert-Levy actually stated that YouTube's sales team rarely hears those questions from any of their agency partners, and there's a reason. They're more focused on a specific group or demographic between 18 and 34 years old. And that audience on YouTube, they have huge engagement with the creators that you just can't find anywhere else. Now, Brian Fuhrer, which is the Senior Vice President of Product Leadership at Nielsen, expressed surprise at YouTube's popularity on the big screen. And I don't know why. This is somebody who should understand television markets and demographics as they shift over time. But essentially, he started attributing it to the platform's wide range of content and its ability to bring viewers from all demographic segments, which again, I would say, aim for the broadest possible audience that you'd like to sell to. And much of YouTube's content can't be found anywhere else. I would say almost all of it can't be found anywhere else, other than maybe a few other streaming platforms like Odyssey and Rumble, and maybe on Twitter now that they're doing video and live video and things like that. So they essentially own those customers, because once they're locked into a creator, they're mostly locked into that platform and that way of looking at content. And that's an audience you really, really want. YouTube continues to enjoy sustained popularity while its competitors in streaming industry have been floundering. And I think that's an interesting word considering Little Mermaid's coming out this weekend. I would say most of those streaming services have a very long way to go, especially in the ad tech space. YouTube has a dominant and commanding lead in the big screen TV department and pretty much everything else. well, they also have a dedicated fan base or audience base that really doesn't go anywhere else for information. In fact, personally, I don't recall going anywhere other than YouTube for at least a month or two, which is bad news for those other services, at least for television viewership. YouTube, for now, obviously has become the king of streamers, and I think they will remain as such for the foreseeable future. Now, we're going to continue this series of videos about streaming, the streaming wars, and eventually the consolidation of all these streaming services, because it's coming in the future. But for next time, we're going to be diving back into entertainment and pop culture news from the business perspective, which is what I normally focus on. And then, to be fair, a lot of that's very relevant in this video. So please feel free to drop your comments down below. Give me thoughts on what you think, whether or not YouTube's actually the king of streamers, or anything else that's on your mind, because oftentimes somebody will make a suggestion either in the chat or somewhere else, and I'll actually make a video about it. So hey, those comments actually work. And with that, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Today, be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.